good. That's a good one. I like that.
Christopher Navor's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're live.
What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our round 2 DFS Showdown targets of the 2021 Players Championship. Craig, I saw you were up about 5 o'clock your time, tweeting up a storm. Obviously excited about the Players Championship. Are you as excited now as you were when you started the day?
I mean, probably not, but that's just because anticipation is a hell of a drug, and like it's like
Yeah.
Christmas morning. You're more excited than you should be, and then all of a sudden it's here, and you're like, oh, okay, well, like that was fun, but like I probably built it up to be more than it was. No, I mean, there's no reason I think to be less excited, but I think it's always just before it starts. There's just this level of anticipation that builds and builds and builds.
I mean, I have a couple reasons to be less excited, but that's just DFS. It was a pretty good day of golf.
Well, I'm feeling good about my week long stuff. I just find that it's always a bit of a letdown once it starts, and then you kind of like as it goes on, it builds back up to the excitement that you initially had.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining us live. Hit that thumbs up. That does help us a lot. We like doing showdown videos, but we appreciate that support. And subscribe if you have not already subscribed to our channel.
Yeah, and Adam was laggy there, so if you didn't hear what he said throw the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate the support. Round 1, I mean, it was awesome. The course was as predicted. The people at the top it does not necessarily mean anything at this course. You can make big numbers in a hurry.
Yeah.
Anyone can go low.
I think Faraday said a quote many years ago, I think about Augusta greens, where he's like, it's trying to stop a golf ball on the top of a VW bug. And that's how I felt watching that 17th green today. Like, man, these greens are just rock hard. It's like made out of glass or rocks. Like they're just skipping. They're hard.
Which, I mean, traditionally they let them go at this course over the week. So it'll be interesting to see whether, how much they continue to juice these things or whether...
Or water them a bit.
Or if they're so fast now that I feel like they can't just let them go because they'll become unplayable. I just got a quick shout out to Christopher Nabor's. I loved Poulter's post. I think a few of those Euro guys might be. I think I saw Diet Cokes and Cokes in the video. So hopefully they're not getting hammered. Hopefully they're they're focusing on tomorrow.
They're not. I'm not afraid of a pint or two, but Eddie Pepperell isn't here. He's over in Qatar, but he posted like the low round of the British Open one year when he showed up completely hungover. So maybe it's just like, hey, that's what you need to do to get your mind off.
I think maybe I could see Stenson and Poulter just kind of calling her, but I think Rory and Hatton. Rory doesn't really have a chance to make the cut, but Hatton should be thinking the cut's still there.
I love the lineup talk. I love the lineup talk. But yeah, great. Let's look at I think when we look at the players, when we look at TPC Sawgrass, it's like, well, it doesn't fit any game. But watching live at the players leading up, I forget who said it, but it is true. Like, you can't find your game here. The only one that kind of jumps out to me that found their game is maybe Shane Lowry at the top half of that leaderboard. Like, everyone else seemed to have some good kind of form.
Yeah, I think so. In a lot of ways, I think what we were talking about beforehand, like a precise iron play is necessary. The scoring doesn't always reflect that because people make their putts or not. But definitely the type of player, it's not long people. Bryson DeChambeau, I think, is an outlier on that leaderboard and the top of that leaderboard. Yeah. It's essentially people who, for the most part, people who are good with their irons and good at controlling the golf ball. I think what we saw out there today was people who got offline on a hole just being punished by it.
Yeah,
especially on 17.
Especially on 17.
So as far as your picks go, how are you feeling about your picks and your sleepers?
Well, I kind of wish it was 2 weeks ago when I went 50% Sergio at WGC, but I'm happy. I'm happy about Sergio. Nah has made me nauseous. I feel horrible. Like he wasn't even going that badly till he reached 17, and then he also dunked one.
We'll just tell that to Benny on.
Tell that to Benny on. Yeah, but Benny on's gonna play tomorrow. He's gonna get some points.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that sucks. Likely, I think Nah is nursing something that for the sake of a $15 million purse, he'll try to play through. But all of a sudden, when you know you're not making a cut, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to get the extra rest, you know?
Yeah. And then Neesmith isn't doing well, but he was a 6K long shot, and I dispersed. We talked about it on a live show. I dispersed elsewhere from there.
I was
But how
on
about
him
yours?
too.
How about yours?
I'm feeling good. So, Morikawa and Simpson, I'm just as high on as I was at the start. Berger has some work to do to make the cut. He's +2. Feeling good about the sleepers. Connors obviously just continues his form from last week. But Answer and who's my other one? Kirk, I think are both even. So one of my best lineups actually is basically it's my picks with your pick Cantlay instead of Berger, and then all my sleepers, and it's one of my top lineups right now. So if that continues and Cantlay makes the cut, then we should be good.
I completely agree about Benny Am being a good sport. He's making fun of himself on Twitter. Like, I love that.
If you haven't seen that on Twitter, I forget who it was. I want to say
golf.com
golf channel or golf.com. Someone posted, tag one of your buddies who would make 11 on number 17, and he tagged himself. So yeah, if you can't take a shot at yourself, then I mean, just don't take yourself too seriously. He did a good job of it.
Why don't we flip over to the next slide, talking about those guys?
Yeah.
Do you like my puns here or what?
No, I just like the picture of Hatton.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Why don't you walk us through this, Craig? I'm going to try to get my computer going a little bit quicker here.
So starts. I mean, one of the clear stories is that we had a lot of stars blow up. $8,500. So this is DraftKings pricing. $8,500 and higher. We've got Hatton, Hideki, and Schauffele. I think these guys all have reasonably good shots to make the cut. They're all at +4. We're going to talk about it in a sec, but I think either 1 or 2 is likely to be the number for the cut. Finau, Rory, I don't feel like they're going to have to go out there and do work. I thought Finau might. So I have, of these guys, Finau, Hideki, and Hatton are the ones I have exposure to in week longs. I guess I have Xander in a single snake draft, but for the most part, it's those 3. And Finau, I was hoping he was going to pick more up on his way in once he fell to this number. I'm not feeling very good about it.
Anyone of that 5 that you're cheering especially hard to get through?
Yeah, I mean, I think Hatton and Hideki. Those are the 2 that I think have the most reasonable shot. That
no, but like that you are like
just
leading.
as a fan?
Like I've no, as like for DFS, I'm really cheering on Hatton to get through.
Well, yeah. So I was saying Hatton, Hideki, and Finau are the 3 that I have really exposure to, and I don't think Finau has much of a shot. So it's Hatton and Hideki are the 2 that I'm really cheering for.
Yeah, and Big Colts fan here is saying we think they make the cut at +4. I think they only need to go 2 under to really put themselves in. Hatton, Xander,
it's 1 or 2, isn't it, potentially?
Well, yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Depends how it plays tomorrow. Who knows? But I think all those guys are in the afternoon as well. So they'll have a pretty good idea how the course is playing. They're going to have a number. I have to go 70. I have to go 69.
You can make decisions based on
it. That's not entirely unreasonable. I know. I saw it earlier in the chat. Like Hatton did it last. He did exactly this last week. He
waited till like his last 6 holes, I think.
Yeah.
The 3 withdraws just blowing holes in people's rosters too, and I actually am happy. I have 0 exposure to all 3 of these guys, both in my normal tourneys and then also in snake drafts, which it's easy to end up on guys that you aren't necessarily looking to play, but then they fall to you in a snake draft and you end up taking them. But fortunately, I don't have any of these guys, so dodging bullets.
I think it's what it's saying, like with the stars, with like the amount of chat, with the amount of people. I think a lot of people are looking at showdowns this week, and I kind of love it. Let's get it back on Showdown, guys. Let's get some money back here if you are Roddy and Finau, Rory. But quick overview of today and tomorrow, Craig.
One last thing. I don't know if you saw, we did do that snake draft together, and I think it was just one guy from the Discord joined us. I'm just blowing you out of the water. Like it's not even close. I don't know if you checked the score recently, but
I haven't looked at it.
I'm beating
Nesmell and
you. I'm
Wes.
beating you by 2 points.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
first? Is it
It's gonna
one
be
and two?
tight. No, we're 3-4.
Uh,
I think 3-4 in the tournament. So yeah,
okay.
it's gonna be a good one. Stay tuned.
So yeah, played hard 1.75, AM 1.92, PM 1.59. Not everybody got in, so that's why it's an asterisk there. And are you taking anything from that morning and afternoon?
Nope. I think
Yeah,
the
me
wind
neither.
blew slightly harder. It looked like there's more people struggling with 17 early, but I'm not weighing too much into that. The one thing, so in terms of weather tomorrow, if you look down at the bottom there, it does look like afternoon's going to hit slightly harder. I'm not making my showdown decisions. I'm not, fading the afternoon wave.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not at all.
It could be if you're looking for a tiny little edge, but to me, when that is the forecast, that means they basically like the difference between that for the forecaster, they basically don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 6 of 6, like we said, it's kind of a bloodbath right now. Currently 7%. That could change huge with a Cantlay getting in, Burger,
Well, and there's
Pat.
there's lots of people within a stroke or two strokes of the cut line, so yeah, it could change very quickly.
And I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but biggest sweat right now, like anyone you're really,
I would
my
say
eyes hadn't.
probably. I mean, I think those guys at two are my biggest. I'd say Cantlay and Berger, just because I've exposure to them, and then I think I also have like decent exposure to them in lineups that are doing very well, and so like it's if one of your like top two or three guys is the thing that holds you back in a lineup, you're just like, oh man. So I think both those guys could easily make the weekend. And then like Cantlay, so think Pete Dye courses. Cantlay made the cut on the number at the Amex and then almost won the
Yeah,
frickin' tournament. So those guys are out of it right now, but I
yeah.
mean they could still win the tournament.
See, that's kind of where we're at in our weeks. I'm already like assuming Cantlay makes it because I just needed to make it. Like, I moved on from that. I'm not sweating him because I know in my heart, in my good heart, he's gonna make it through. I'm looking at the plus fours.
Sounds like
That's how
Scotty Scheffler.
optimistic I
Scotty
have to
Scheffler
be.
is someone I'm sweating to that we haven't brought up. I want to say he's at +2. I actually I didn't roster him in normal DFS tourney logs, but I ended up with him. Oh, he's in the snake draft one that we're playing against each other. So that one just matters to me
Yeah,
disproportionately.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, you jump into picks. Ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do some picks. I feel good about these picks, Greg. Feel good for Friday. Feel good Friday. TGIF. Justin Thomas is the first one, 9,400 on DraftKings. Criminally low, 71. He went 1 under, 4 birdies, 1 bogey, 1 double. Featured group in the morning, so got to see quite a bit of him. Looking at his stats, I mean, it's all fine, but it's not great. The biggest thing for me is it seemed like he passed the eye test. He could have got a lot out there. So he got 1 in the water on 17. And then after that, his next 10 holes, he was 3 under. So he finished bogey free 3 under from 18 all the way to 9. Really like how he's playing there. I think this is an approach course. Like we kind of talked about, he was my first pick coming in. I think it's an approach course. He's playing well right now, 1.23. That could go up, and I think other people around him will fall down through the course of 4 days of golf. Everything else, though, he seemed to be hitting fairways. He's not getting himself into too much trouble. Seems to be putting okay. He seemed more like Justin Thomas 2020 than Justin Thomas 2021, like the recent month of Justin Thomas. And then the final thing is, I mean, it's kind of been talked about. He seems to be the profile of this golf course, but he's made a lot of bogeys, double bogeys along his way since 2015, but he does lead in birdies made. Birdies and eagles at TPC Sawgrass since 2015. He has 98. That leads the entire field. That's what we need for Showdown. That's what we need for DFS. He can go low. He can get a couple numbers. Like, you're not going to get many bogey-free rounds, but I want birdies, and JT, I think, can do that.
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't bring up the bogeys because I was going to say I'm pretty sure he has the most birdies and also the most bogeys or worse since 2015. So yeah, I totally agree. To me, it's so I think approach, play, and putting. If you're looking for guys who are going to potentially go low, I think those are the two things you want. Putting, we obviously know that anyone can get hot for a round. So to me, JT has as much potential as anyone in this field to go out there and post a crazy low number tomorrow. Is he going to post a crazy low number? I don't know. I don't, you know, if I was to say, I don't like his floor as much as, say, a Webb Simpson, but that's fine because I'm not rostering Showdown guys for their floor. I think JT's upside is what he's going to be he's in my player pool for sure.
Yeah, and if you're new to the channel, we're talking GBPs. We're always talking GBPs here.
Okay, my first one. He's a pick of mine for the week long. I just have to bring him up. I'm in the wrong window here. I've got to bring him up because he's my one and done. I picked him tournament long. I'm bringing him up today in the Showdown because I'm going to be playing him every single day in Showdowns this week. And so I'm telling you now so that I don't have to bring him up later. You just know that he's going to be in my player pool. I think he's a perfect fit for the course.
What if he blows up tomorrow, man? Like, you just put some bad.
No, I'll still play him. I think it's such a good course fit.
He's not around on Saturday.
Oh, I'll still play him. You can click the toggle and you can get the guys that missed the cut still in the pool. I'll still roster him. Collin Morikawa, he's 9. Yeah, actually he could miss the cut. He's not exactly that far from the cut line. Collin Morikawa, he's $9,000 on DraftKings. He went 71. He's -1, 4 birdies, 3 bogeys. So you look at what he did today. He was 1-4-3 off the tee, 3 on approach. These are strokes gained. He gained 2/3 of a stroke around the green, and he lost almost 2.5 putting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch in the afternoon. We had to go do a little Bed Bath & Beyonding and check out flooring for our basement.
You had enough
time? We didn't have enough time to make it to Bed Bath & Beyond, actually. We just were at the flooring store. But so I was listening to some radio.
Like a lovely afternoon.
I was listening. Yeah, it was. I was listening to the radio and just hearing him 3-putt on the radio, and I'm just like, classic Collin. But so to me, it's just pure upside. I think he has so much upside right now. Looking at what he's done, so this for Morikawa, I'm counting strokes gained coming in and this round. So including this round, 7 of his last 8, he's gained over 2.25 strokes on the field total.
Yeah.
So that's pretty darn good in, 88%, call it, 88% of his rounds.
Yep.
Off the tee, 4 straight rounds, he's gained at least 1.4. Approach, he's gained at least 1.25 strokes in 7 straight rounds. But 4 of those rounds, he's gained at least 3 strokes on approach. Yeah. So his ball striking is just on like a berserk level right now. And if he, he had rounds at concession where he gained, half stroke or a stroke putting. If he has a round like that, he's going to have I think he had a -7, I want to say, at concession one day. He's gaining so many strokes tee to green that if he does go out there and has a good putting day, it's going to be a crazy low round. So to me, the upside, assuming he's around for the weekend, he's going to make Showdown rosters for me every day.
Yeah, I mean, he fits the profile that I think I'm kind of eyeing for tomorrow. I wish I had more of him tournament long. I do think at 9,000 he will be chalky. I think he'll be actually. You don't think so?
No, I think he will be. I'm just saying. I don't care. You don't care. I'll take the chalk. I think the upside. I think his potential, the likelihood of him being part of the optimal lineup is so high that I'm going to take shots with him.
Yeah, I think I saw his whole round up until 18. I think I might have missed 18. He looked really good.
He looked 3rd tee to green and 143rd.
It's just like beautiful little little cuts, little fades the entire time. In DJ's group, doing DJ but better. Like that's what it looked like. Like that's DJ's kind of shot, and he just did it better.
Well, and I think it's just, to me, it's just how repeatable his shot is, and one of the things that they mentioned actually on the radio, and sometimes it's interesting. I know you've listened to PGA Tour radio before. I don't know if everyone has, but it's interesting because sometimes they're so good at describing things that you get insights that you wouldn't necessarily think of.
I agree.
If you're just watching it. But he mentioned that because Collin knows so reliably that he's going to fade it, it's not going left. It's going to fade 2 or 3 yards. He can start it right on the treble, say and then fade it, and then it's like, maybe he misses 10 feet to the right of the pin, but he knows he's not going left of where he aimed. So to me, it's just such a huge advantage to have such a reliable, repeatable swing.
We got to move on from Collin because I feel like you're going to spend a little time talking about the next guy too.
And I called him Collin. I think, we call him Mr. Palmer and Mr. Nicholas. I think we should just start calling him Mr. Morikawa. Like it's almost.
Oh, wow. The respect level. Yeah. Wow. How do you think Spieth is getting on? Is from Ari Spur 98 in the chat. Spieth, I think, led off the tee today, which I saw a good Twitter comments like, that's like Keegan Bradley getting 3 strokes putting and shooting even. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Spieth is so volatile. He's always the showdown option. That's
I like what we saw from Spieth today.
Yeah.
Whether that means I'm going to roster him, I don't know yet, but I like him. And to me, it's just with Spieth, it's always about the ownership. I always worry that the ownership's going to be higher. Anyways, moving on. Your next one.
Moving on. And I'm going to give you a 30-second rebuttal on this one because that's all I'm going to give you. Will Zalatoris, 7,900 on DraftKings. I think he's just like, when I saw the pricing came out, he was in the afternoon, so he hadn't done anything yet. It just seemed laughably too cheap. Like 7,900 for Will Zalatoris. The disrespect. Craig, it's one of my most overused words, the disrespect. That is,
you're putting your disrespect stamp on it.
I know. This is my disrespect stamp. I'm a believer in Zalatoris. Like, his game is super legit. He went out, so he's 3 under. He's got to play not 18. I think he's got to play 18.
Yeah, which is the hardest hole on the course, but still. Yeah. So say he worst case, or not worst case, but say he bogeys, he's 2 under. Still good.
Yeah. He'll be out there in the morning. He might have the best part of that. I don't know.
Sorry, you're really just lagging there. He'll be out there in the morning.
He might have that best part of the weather, but I don't really care that much. Mm-hmm. But he'll be out there, and then he'll continue on his round. Fine with that. I don't need to see anything else. He went 5 birdies, 2 bogeys. Approach. I mean, that's what we're talking about so far. JT, Morikawa, Zalatoris, the best approach players. He gained 3 strokes on approach. That's who he is. His greens and regulation numbers on the Corn Ferry Tree were absolutely ridiculous. Like he was smashing people there. Like he didn't miss greens at all, and he's carrying that into the PGA Tour. The rest, I think the putting is a little bit high for him right now, but if he likes his green and he's putting well, maybe that continues for a couple of days. But the one thing with the approach and off the tee stats, he only hit 46% of his fairways, 122nd in the field. He doesn't hit a lot of fairways, but he's better than 46%. So I think
remember at Torrey Pines, he didn't hit a single fairway and shot like, I forget if it was even or under par, some ridiculous score. So he doesn't even need to hit fairways. He's good.
But that might set him up for even better scoring. But even with 46%, he's 3 under, and I love that. He's too cheap.
Yeah. So just real quick, I mean, everyone, I think if you've ever watched your show, I bring him up as often as I can. The one concern I had about him coming in is that he is one of these guys that distance is a weapon for, more so, off the tee more so than accuracy. And so, it wasn't enough to keep him out of my pool. I think on top of that, his approach game is so good. So I think he's still a course fit. It's just one less thing he can use. So I'm going to be playing it. The only thing I worry about is ownership. But if you look at that range on DraftKings, there's a ton of very attractive plays. So I think that's going to potentially keep his ownership from getting too high.
Yeah, that is one of my notes. So right above him are Day, Fitz, and below him are Connor and Answer.
Yeah, and then
so those guys it will disperse kind of naturally.
Yeah, the one I have here next is another guy in that range, and he's a potential pivot. But I put this huge asterisk up in the corner.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do. Paul Casey, 7,700. There's a huge asterisk on him because there's a potential wrist injury. But he went out. So what did he do today? He went out, shot a 73 plus 1, 5 birdies, 2 bogeys, a quad. On 17 he shot a 7. So the thing, I was going to take him out of here because the one thing I really want you to do if you're going to play him tomorrow is be prepared that he might not make it through the round. He might just absolutely blow up, and
it could be like a Rose last week.
It absolutely could be that. But to me, it's just there's so much I like about the upside of the play that I'm going to be playing it. I also am going to be playing 20 lineup. So I'm going to be playing it on some. If you're putting in 1 or 2, or he is a very high risk play that I think has upside. So that's the qualifier I want to put on it before I get into it. So what did he do? He, with his, I think, 2 balls in the water on 17, he still gained over a stroke on approach. He gained 3 or almost 3 strokes ball striking, another one around the greens, and his putting was just absolutely atrocious. Like, I was talking about Morikawa's not being good. Paul Casey was a full stroke worse than him.
Crazy bad. Yeah.
So it was crazy bad. He still gained on the field. He's gained strokes on the field in 17 of his last 19 rounds. In 10 of his last 19 rounds, he's gained over 2.5 strokes. So he is just on a heater coming into this week. We spoke about it on our week-long show. I think the fact that he put up a quad and still got his way, worked his way back to +1, to me speaks about more where his form is at. You have to be doing work to get yourself back to +1. So the last 3 months, this is datagolf.com. They incorporate both European Tour stats and PGA stats. So this is using both of them, but they do, they weight them differently. For this field, he's number 3 in strokes gained total over the last 3 months. He's number 2 tee to green. He's number 3 on approach. To me, those are the 3 best single indicators. If we're looking at a single stat as to what someone's form is coming in, those are the 3 best ones we can use. So his form is awesome. I think we saw some of that. Obviously, we saw a little bit of a blow up. Billy Hauser, if you didn't hear, I was talking about the wrist injury. It's a huge, huge risk that goes along with him. I'm going to be, there's the big asterisk. Can I,
no, man, you're bad at that.
Can I?
I'm liking.
So yes. Essentially, it's a huge risk. I'm taking the upside. I'm not going to have a ton of exposure to it, but I really like the upside.
So sitting here as someone that feels burned as picking Na as a sleeper, I'm probably not going to get there because I've been hurt. I don't know if I'm ready to trust again. But what I might do is I don't know the exact contest for the late, because he played in the morning, so he'll play late tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a captain or if it's just a straight up showdown. I might wait till then and see if there's any reports and then play him in an afternoon showdown. I don't know if I can get there in a showdown, but yeah, I agree. Like, we talked about him as one of the top 5 players trending up coming into the tournament. Like, he's playing excellent golf right now. The putter was atrocious today, but it will scare people off, the injury.
So that's the other thing I was going to say. He's in an area of people who are going to attract tons of ownership, and I think the wrist injury will scare people. So to me, it's an upside play that you can potentially get at low ownership, which is why I'm going to take a few shots at it.
Before we jump into my next one, Craig, we've had a couple questions about, Xander, Finau, those guys. We kind of talked about it last week. Anyone who was priced 85 and above coming in, like those stars, the top 15 guys in the field, over enough sample size, they will have great rounds. So if you want to place, if you have a good feeling about Finau tomorrow or Xander tomorrow, they're going to have lower ownership.
Their ownership's going to be crazy low. Yeah.
If you want to play them, it's just like, it wasn't our pick, but absolutely that makes sense in showdown. Like, play it with conviction.
Yeah. Trust your gut.
Yeah.
Showdown, anything can happen. I think that's what people need to realize.
It's a single round of golf.
And these are all professional golfers.
Like, Paul Casey can't putt, and then Keegan Bradley can, and Sergio can. Like, it's a single round of golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last one here, Adam. What you got?
I went JT Zalatoris. I went a little bit chalkier. Maybe not so much with JT, but definitely Zalatoris. I had to go a little bit off the board here. This is my pick as a 6K low-owned guy that I think can battle back into the cut. He fits the profile that I'm kind of going here with approach guys. He's 500 cheaper than to start the tournament. So start at 74. He's 6,900 now for showdown. Russell Henley. He went 75 plus 3, 2 birdies, 5 bogeys. I do have him in tournament long, so it is a little bit of a biased pick, but really bad putting. 1.77, 132nd in the field. Not great off the tee. He only hit 42% of his drives. Unlike Zalatoris, he's a great driver of the ball, though. He's a 68% on the season. If you go to PGAtour.com, you can see his stats. You can click on tournament, and it hasn't been like his early part of the season was better than now, but it's still 60 and above. His floor for hitting fairways is still great. He's top 20 in the PGA Tour for hitting fairways. So I think you have to get off the tee. You have to find fairways to put yourself in good position. He's I think he was like a top 5. If you look on Data Golf again, last 6 months or 3 months, I forget exactly which. I took my notes away. He's a top 5 approach player. Like,
Oh yeah,
he's
yeah.
been great
And
with
like
his irons.
long term, not just
Long
you know,
term.
you can look at his 30-day or 3 months, but if you look at him over a year or 2 years,
Yeah.
he's an elite approach player.
So elite approach player. Clearly, that's where I'm going with JT and Zalatoris. I think Henley fits that mold. I don't think anybody will be there. He's in the 6Ks. It allows me to do a bunch up top, stack a bunch of guys in the 8s or 9s if I want to. He's just kind of my flyer. He's my flyer for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things that I have him tournament long, so I want it to happen. But one of the things we were talking about coming in is the driving accuracy. Like if you look at guys, I want to say he's a slight gainer off the tee. I'm not positive on that, but I mean he definitely gains lots on approach. I want to say he's gaining slightly on the tee for the year, but don't quote me on that necessarily. But he is one of these people who is not long, but he's accurate. That's the mold that does well typically at this course. So to me, it's a great shot because he fits the course.
Yeah.
So
I'll play 3 lineups and probably have him in 1.
Yeah,
maybe 2.
I'll probably get him on a slight exposure. The thing that and this is where it's suboptimal, but I'm probably a little bit because I want him to make the cut and I'm invested emotionally in it for tournament long. Then if I hedge against it by not rostering him, then I'm not doubly crushed. But I think if I was smart, I would definitely the fit. Everything tells me to play it.
So a couple things, Billy. He is going off in the afternoon. He's morning. He's going off in the afternoon, and apparently people from back. Brad and Brandon are connecting. I love it.
Yeah.
Golf. Showdown golf bringing you together. I love it.
Small world out there. I think and if I remember, is Brad Fish? No, Brad's not Fish, is he?
No, Gerard.
Okay, yeah. All these people changing names on different sites and it gets confusing for me. Okay, my last one here, Louis Oosthuizen. Oosty, I feel like he's another guy I plug in every week at some point during Showdown. 7,400, that price is absurd to me. It's just value.
Disrespect.
Adam's putting his disrespect stamp on it. So what did he do round 1? He's 1 over 73, 3 birdies, 2 bogeys, a double. He's been gaining strokes with his putter a lot lately. He did that again today. He gained over a stroke putting, lost it on the tee, and then he's around the green approach play. He was good but not great. To me, I think he's a good fit for the course, but it's also just momentum coming in. He gained strokes in 9 of his last 10 rounds, and he's done an absurd job gaining strokes in 5 of his last 10, gaining over 3.5 strokes in half his last 10 rounds. So to me, it's a pure upside play. I think he's got a reasonable shot at hitting a large upside and a decent shot, and a decent floor. If he's 1 or 2 under, and that's your worst guy in a solid lineup, I don't like to think about floor too much in GPP because really you're trying to hit the ceiling, but sometimes having a guy that also has the floor keeps that one person from sewering your lineup. So I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be playing. I don't think if he makes a bogey or 2 early, I don't think he's going to blow up. Whereas a guy at 4, if they make a couple bogeys early, they could mentally check out. So to me, there's upside. I feel like I've gone on and on about most of my picks, so I'll keep this one short. I'm assuming you're on board with Oosty too. You usually
I'm on board with Oosty. Yeah, I like Oosty. But sorry, I was just looking, Craig. I wasn't listening with my eyes. I was looking at something here. He is priced the same as Brian Harman, so I like that. And he is $100 more than Sergio and $100 more than Bez.
Yeah, and so I actually almost plugged in Bez here because I think he is a good play as well. And Sergio is going to vacuum up so much ownership. So to me, that's actually how I got on Tuesday. I went around Sergio and I was like, who's around here that could potentially be underowned? And once I saw Usti was at 7,400, I was like, I like this value regardless of what his ownership's going to be. So to me, there's upside there. And if his ownership's low, it's a great play.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you everybody for watching. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you have not already. Let's answer a few questions. William asked, lots of guys finish strong or really struggle at the end of the round. Do you believe in any carryover?
Well,
I mean, yeah, I don't think.
the other thing, part of that is 17, 18, I think, are, if not playing as the two hardest hole. I know 18 was playing as the hardest hole on the course. So that, I think, has something to do with it. That the guys who were finishing on 17, 18 struggled on their way in.
Yeah, and 9 is a par 5 and probably had good vibes, like
If you're
Sergio did,
Sergio.
going with an eagle. So I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't put really much weight, but if you rally back from +3 to get to even, I think that puts you in a pretty good space. But it's not a make or break.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would rather that than a guy who went out and then fade. You know, let's say they go out -3 and then they fade. I'd rather someone who has done the opposite. But I probably would put more on it for people who are playing late early, because I think there potentially is more momentum carrying over. There, it's just you play and then they're out there
The guys
first thing in the
going
morning,
early, late, probably went to the range after,
and we'll go to the
then
range for a while in the morning.
Yeah, so it'll be like a completely new feeling almost. I don't know.
I will play Connors likely. I won't play him on other tickets where I have chalky guys. Connor, what's his price? He's like 78. He's in that range, right?
Yeah, he is. I think right below Zalatoris, I think.
Yeah. So
will I play Garcia? Depends how many lineups I put in. If I put in 3,
I'm not playing Sergio.
3 to 5 maybe. My expectation is 1 under round.
So you're breaking up. Your expectation is 7 under again?
1, 2 under. Like he was crazy hot today. Like that.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason he was one of my sleepers, because he loves his course. He said he wasn't even firing on all cylinders in his post-round interview. I wish I had more of him in a tournament long, but he's so volatile in Showdown. So I'd rather go low on Sergio than 35% or 30% Sergio and have him disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think the price, I think there's great value there. I just think it's going to be such a chalky play. Like anytime you have a guy go out there and clearly, shoot too clear of the field on the first day, like his ownership, over 30% tomorrow?
I would think so.
Over 25, I would think at least. So
yeah, 25 to 35, I'd put it at.
I like to avoid that, because I think his, what is his spread? What's his distribution of potential scores tomorrow? I don't think it's changed a whole lot from what it was today, and the ownership will counter that. So I think one of the guys I almost plugged in here is a pick, Christian Bezuidenhout. Did I get a different pronunciation? Was that an original one again today?
Yeah.
I think he's a great play. I think there's lots of great plays. I love the high 7 range. I love that guy, a bunch of those guys in the low 7 range. I think likely I'm going to end up with a lot of balanced lines.
So this is a bad. No, I'm not even going to say it. But I end up with some. I'm looking at Patrick Reed as well.
Why aren't you? I think that's a fine play.
Yeah, I think it's a fine play, but sometimes I get in my head. So PGA Tour Communications sends out the pin locations, and then I look at pin locations on scoring holes, like par 5s. I look at it like, say, where is it on 9? Where is it on 16? I'm like, oh, there's a couple draw holes. Maybe Patrick Reed can score there.
See, if anything, I would look at it less on. I would look at it with par 3s. Because par 3s, they're hitting irons into it.
And that's why it doesn't really matter, because it's almost always like 8 and 8 and then a couple middle pins. Like it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But there's other things I like about him. It's not just that, but
yeah.
Tyler McCumber, interesting one. Sure. Yeah. He can go low.
I mean, his price must be crazy. He can go low.
I think he's a local too. Maybe I'll look at that.
I mean, his dad's a golf pro, so it makes sense that he lives in the Florida area.
When he's not living in his van in Australia, I think he's local. Yeah, he is.
I think, wasn't it in New Zealand? He
Yeah,
was surfing somewhere for a while. I like Tyler McCumber just like as a fan of people with
someone to hang out with.
finding their own path in life. I'm all about that.
As a
Uh,
guy with a beard that you'd like to play golf and hang out
yeah,
with.
yeah, exactly. Any West, I was gonna say as a guy who's like, I don't think I've ever actually lived in a van, but spent quite some time in hostels. Any Westwood, I won't have him. I like him as a play. I underestimated Westwood coming into this week. I did not expect him to show the form from last week. I won't have him just because I'll avoid the top of the leaderboard, just for pure game theory reasons.
Yeah, Brandon, I like that 1,000+ times. And he has, man, he can pop. Like I just remember when he was in my town on the Mackenzie tour and just dominating. Um,
So I think Barry's got a good question here. Which
so guys,
person on the leaderboard? So we've got 20, I think
I like
19 or
that.
20 guys here. Who misses the cut?
I don't know. I'm gonna hit a dart. Let's say Gary Woodland does Gary Woodland
I
things
was
and
thinking
misses.
Gary Woodland. I want to
Yeah,
say maybe. So Rory Sabatini could be the this leader after the second round, or he could eject from this tournament.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw Rory out there.
Sabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't see any other questions. We got Barry calling out Hoffman over Bez again. Hoffman's been playing pretty good golf, so Nick, it is 4 rounds, but we do have the cut, so we will cut down to 65 players plus ties tomorrow, which I think Thursday showdowns are my favorite. You still have the
Friday.
full,
Friday.
yeah, sorry, Friday, Thursday when we talk about them, Thursday when I'm making my lineups. Um,
Thursday night.
you got the full field. You've got a round of information on how they played the course. You've got a round of information on people overreacting to just a single round of play.
Yeah.
I love it.
And Nick, we don't really spell it out, but this is for Showdown. So this is single round entries for tomorrow. These are our 6 plays. Or, I mean, we're passing. These were our 6 plays for tomorrow. Tomorrow only.
Barry, if one Rory makes the cut, I know which one I'm pulling for. I don't mind if Sabs. I don't even have any
There's
Rory
like 2
McIlroy
ships passing in the
in any
night.
DFS, but I still would love it if he made the cut. Yeah, thanks for showing up, Ray. I think we're probably gonna call it there. So
Yeah.
appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate the questions.
We
Like,
will see you
subscribe.
all. Yeah, subscribe, like. We'll see you all weekend.
Yep. See you guys
Same time
tomorrow, same
tomorrow.
time. Take care.
Yeah.